Welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. On this Thursday afternoon, we hope everybody is safe out there. Look, we talk about this every day. It seems like this is one of the times now. You know, we've never gone through this. I know Coach hasn't gone through something like this before. Remember, we're all in this together, and we do want to send a shout-out to our first responders and our healthcare workers. We appreciate them more than ever. We know what they're going through the ringer right now. If you see one, like I said, don't shake their hand. Just tell them that you appreciate them because that goes a long way right now. But, Coach, we're here talking some football. First things first, though, how you doing today, my friend?
Doing well, and good to be with you, JB.
Absolutely, Coach. I know we have a special guest joining us again today. It's been quite the week. Coach, I know he's got a special place with you as well. Jim Haslett, I know he's a player. He used to play for you, coach with you. Saints fans know this guy as well. This guy has done just about everything. But Jim Haslett's going to join us at 12:15, Coach.
You bet, and he is he's quite quite a gentleman, quite a guy. He's a very good friend. But Jim both played for me and coached with me. He's an outstanding football coach. When I say that, I mean that sincerely, and a good guy to boot. He stays up on what's going on. He's a good talent evaluator and knows what's going on around the league. And so his input is greatly appreciated. I really appreciate him taking the time to do it. And our listeners should be gratified that he's on with us, you know.
Well, Coach, I know I am. Being a Tennessee Titan fan, of course, it's a little bit different for me now. It's awesome that he's a part of the Tennessee Titans, but it's going to be fun to have him on. I think you're right. Right now, we don't know what's going on the inside. Of course, you have as many sources as anybody out there, Coach. I know you're constantly talking to them as well, but Haslett's one of those guys. He's one of those guys in the locker room, and of course, being at home right now, things are a little bit different for him. But listen, Coach, I want to get into this. I know, look, around here we have so many Alabama fans, and it's like I said before, we don't really know what to do. Some of us don't know what's going on. Some of us are holding on to the hope that everything's going to be okay in a little while, and, most of that is up to us and what we do, as long as we do our part. Nick Saban came out, and there's a lot of top football coaches that are speaking up now. His spring has been upended by coronavirus, and he was going to have a great spring as well. Had a lot of new players coming in, a lot of guys from last year that, they're here to revamp that program. Bryce Young, the quarterback coming in from California, it was going to be interesting to see that quarterback battle. He's a guy that said, listen, anybody who knows me, I'm not a sit-around kind of guy, Saban told ESPN. He said, it drives me crazy to even think about it, but a lot of us in this country are going to have to adjust doing things differently right now, and that includes me. He talks about later on, Coach, that with that program, everybody's separated right now. They're using technology, and they're preparing to go ahead and do a virtual spring practice. Now, he didn't go into details of what all that creates there. It goes back to, listen, meeting with guys, doing that Zoom. If somebody's used Zoom, I think they use Zoom here at the station to do their meetings and things like that. But right now, he can't do any of that because the SEC has shut down everything across the board to make it even for guys, and we understand that. But the SEC is going to meet April 15th to talk about how they're going to move forward with guys. But Saban said, we're preparing to do things virtually at this point. And, Coach, I ask you, when you look at this, I think it's good, to hear from coaches. I think it's good for sports fans just to hear how it's going on their end because we hear from the media all the time. We want to hear from these guys, and Saban's one of the most well-respected men in sports, period. I'm not just going to say in college football, in sports, period. But when you look at this, this is different for people, and to do it virtually, I don't know how I guess you could do that. Do you have any idea, Coach?
Well, I think this. I think you're right. People want to hear from Saban, and I think you've got the clip there, which should be interesting to our listeners to be able to hear this. And Saban is just one of the absolute best. He and Belichick, of course, it's not by coincidence that they worked together at one time. So I'm anxious to hear too. I know they'll find a way to substitute some of the mental part of it, the learning. I don't think, and again, this is a disadvantage to the young kids and the new kids, but they'll find a way to at least create some type work, productive work this spring through technology. I'm not concerned about that. So I think it's going to be interesting, though, as to how they do it and what effect it has, and what we hear after the fact. Did they indeed have a success, or should there be another approach?
Yeah, Coach, trying to get that clip to play right now, we're having some problem, but I think you're right. Looking at, I'll work on this, but it's important. Saban put out a PSA as well, just like Ed Orgeron did, and kind of letting people know that listen, yeah, we're doing what we have to do here at the University of Alabama. We're business as usual to the extent of well what we can do, and for guys like Saban, we have to remember they're against like everybody else is. If they tell you to stay home, you're staying home. The SEC has said now that listen, nobody can do anything. Basically, they've shut facilities down and things like that. So it's this is interesting for everybody. This is a moment where even coaches are coming out. They have Baylor and all these other coaches as well saying, "Listen, we don't know what to do. We've never had to go through this," and that's where it's important for everybody to understand we're all on the same playing field here. It's just for guys like Saban, Coach, you've been there. Can you imagine just if you had to go through this as an NFL coach and things like that, how it would just put a damper on what you have to do in your daily process?
Oh, I can imagine, certainly, what a terrible disadvantage it would be. And no one has ever had to do this before in this country. And it's just something we're going to have to go through, and we're going to have to be in the we've got to be, all of us, committed to getting this virus stopped. So if it means self isolation, then that's what it's going to have to be for a while. And we got to be have enough courage to stand up and look them in the eye, and look it in the eye, and get it done. Period.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's something that it makes you uncomfortable. But we have to remember, I mean, we're all uncomfortable. No, if you're not comfortable or if you're not uncomfortable at a time like this, well, something's wrong. Because this is a moment that we're all going through right now, and it's important. I know people are saying, "Well, I've heard this, I've heard this, I've heard this," but it is important because there's still people out there right now that are not adhering to this. And look, Coach Saban says in his PSA, if we want college football to come back, we have to do our part. And I think that's important to remember. Coach, I want to move on here. Joe Montana. Now, I know Joe Montana, you've told me a story as well. One of the best to ever do it, Coach. We know that. He thinks the Patriots made a mistake in letting Tom Brady go. Now, he comes out and he says, I don't know what's going on inside there, but somebody made a mistake. I think when you look at the whole situation, you try to figure out how to get away from the things that are there. I had a different story where they made a decision. They never would have gotten rid of. I still don't understand how New England let him get away. I don't understand that. He understands, Coach Go. He goes on to talk about, well, I get with the problems, that they've had and things like that, and not, the talent. He understands why Tom Brady left because he went to a place where they were willing to go get what he needed, or they had those pieces in place, and it was almost like a new start for Tom Brady. But, Coach, when you look at this, Montana's basically saying this is on the Patriots. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Well, I think that's a little uh, premature for Joe Montana to say that. I think it was something that happened that none of us really wanted to see, and I think Joe was probably the same way. We just really didn't want to see it. We were watching perfection, and that is something that you very rarely ever see. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. I know we haven't, and it would be a long time, if ever, that we would see it again. So we didn't want to see it break up. But the fact is, because of whatever circumstances that we're not privy to all of them, but due to certain circumstances, it was inevitable that Brady move on to other uh, opportunities, plural, and Belichick probably to move on as well. So that is the case. Let's accept it, and let's enjoy watching Brady with that crew down there. I think that's going to be a tremendous entry, and in the division with other outstanding quarterbacks and Hall of Fame quarterbacks, really. And so the whole thing is going to be enjoyable to watch. And Belichick and what moves he makes between now and the season. I don't anticipate him making any big move with a quarterback there, even in the draft. And we'll be talking a little bit about this with Haslett.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Another story talking about Tom Brady here. Bruce Arians, of course, speaking. And look, people asking Bruce Arians, look, your offense throws the ball down the field a lot. A lot of people believe that Tom Brady doesn't have it left in him. Of course, he's going to be 43 years old. And Bruce Arians says, well, that's a bunch of nonsense. Brady's going to throw to who's open. And he said the perception's just wrong. Brady was outstanding in that area last year. He completed 43% of his passes that traveled more than 20 yards in the air. This is a guy, he said, look, we have reads that start deep and they come in short. I've had a couple quarterbacks that just keep looking deep. They won't throw the check down. He believes that Tom Brady, this is a guy, he said, you don't go broke putting money in the bank here. Take the check down sometimes, and that's where he believes Tom is going to thrive. There are going to be open shots.
The only people that have any doubt about Tom Brady's ability right now are the people that listen to that idiot Max Kellerman. He's one of the worst. I guess there are a couple of others, but Kellerman really should stick to amateur boxing or something, because he knows absolutely nothing about football, that's for sure. But anybody that would doubt Tom Brady, I think can't look at the mess that he played with there in New England. And I mean, I'm telling you, he played with a skeleton crew up there. But anyway, we've been through that before, and I think he'll be fine. He's going to get the ball down the field. He can make any throw that you need made, and we'll watch him in Tampa, and everybody will enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree, Coach, and I think it's important to remember Jameis Winston led the league in throws of at least 20 yards last season, but he also led the league in interceptions. That's where Bruce Arians is talking about. Sometimes you just need to take the dang, it's not what he said, dang, but the dang check down. And I think that's, we've seen Tom Brady, just the way he's been able to manipulate the ball and everything. That's where I think he's going to have a lot of fun here. And I agree with you, Coach. Look, Max Kellerman and those guys, it's almost like they just read from a script. It's just like they have to go against the grain here. Because a guy like Tom Brady, I understand he's 43 years old, but, Coach, he's one of the greatest. And you're telling me that guy can't throw the ball down the field. I think you're crazy. I think, if anything, Tom Brady looks younger this year because he is going to have the weapons around him where he doesn't have to do everything himself. He's going to have the help. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out with Tampa. But, Coach, nonetheless, I know we got Jim Haslett coming on in a few minutes here. We're up against a break. When we come back, you guys are not going to want to miss this. Jim Haslett is going to join us on Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola.
People would like to call in with questions, too.
Absolutely. Call in our studio line, 850-623-1330, with questions for Coach Haslett or just questions for us. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have, let us know what's on your mind. We're here for you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have some old mayonnaise.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk? Very funny.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as it gets older, one of the most embarrassing things, my daughter's 3, I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach, head coach Kay Stevenson. We're here with you on this Thursday afternoon. We're working right now to get, Jim Haslett on the phone. Haven't been able to get a hold of him. Coach, I know we're going to work on that and try to get him on the show here. A couple things I want to go over. Look, I know we had a question, Coach, over the break as well. Jason from Pensacola wanted to know, and he said it doesn't matter who asked. I asked him if we wanted Coach Haslett to talk about it as well. I want to know, looking at Tua, what you've seen so far, is he worth the risk to take, or does the injury scare you too much to take him early in the first round? And Coach, I'll start here just real quick. I think this is a guy that what you've seen so far, I know that everybody is saying he's all clear. I know there's a lot more. I know he's got another scan coming up here. I think this is interesting, but I think with Tua, it's tough. For me, I want to say no, but if they're saying he's healthy, Coach, you got to think with the talent that he can be. I got to take him, especially if you're a team like the Miami Dolphins. I would take him personally. What say you, Coach?
Well, if you get an okay from your medical people, and we can't say that as coaches or you and I as commentators, we can't say that. So it has to come from a medical team that he is going to be able to play and play without any problems for quite a while. So if that's the case, there are going to be a number of people that go after him, and they should. I think he's going to be an outstanding NFL quarterback. So, in fact, there's not a lot of difference between he and Burrow. I think there's a little separation there, but not much. And I think you're going to see a number of people move up to take him if their medical team has given them an okay, an all clear on getting it done. So, no, I think, in fact, it's just a matter of how far they're going to move up. I think, there's a lot of talk about even I heard this morning some people saying, well, maybe somebody has to move up. Maybe Miami has to move up to number 2 to get Tua from Washington. But that's going to be tough to do now. Think about it, because Washington wants Young. And if they don't take Young, the next choice up is going to take Young. So they can't move beyond where they are if they're going to get Young. So I think this is going to be a real dilemma. I think the place they're going to have to move to is Detroit. We've said all along Detroit is really sitting in the best seat for an outstanding or big trade. So that's going to be an interesting move. But yes, I would think that most any team would want to have Tua.
And, Coach, I know we talked about this. It was either yesterday or the day before. And in moving forward, because I've had some people, some friends of mine asking me, well, the video, how much do we take from that? And I know I asked you that as well. But the video that we saw of Tua throwing the football, not just that, but if Tua, which it seems right now that maybe teams aren't going to be able to meet and things like that just unless the draft is moved, we're saying that they possibly won't be able to. A guy like Tua doing a video like that, if you saw a prolonged video of him running around, throwing the football, moving, and everything looks good there, does that make you feel better, or is this a guy that, when it's all said and done, you want to bring him back in and you want to see him throw the football because a video can hide some things?
Well, I don't think you can, a 10-second video, JP, you can't place the future of an NFL franchise on the 10-second video, which is if you move up and lose draft choices and draft him number 1 and he can't play, you have mortgaged the future of your franchise and hurt them for 10 years. So you can't do that. And I wouldn't even think anybody would put that at the top of the priority list on whether you would make him a choice or not. Now, there may be some who have already talked to the doctors in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and have a good enough feel that they would do it. I doubt it, because I would think they all want to take that final look, and time is precious on recovering from an injury like he had. So that's my view. I don't think anybody would do it on that 10-second video. It was good. It was good to see him moving around like that and put a little torque on his hip and so on. But that you can't judge it on that.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. I think it's important, for just fans in general to see Tua back throwing the football. It's awesome after the way we saw him go down like that, and the recovery he's had's been good too. But I agree. I think it's hard when I've never been in that situation, and it's hard for me to sit there and talk about mortgaging my future. When the guy's healthy, he's no doubt one of the top. And if he wouldn't have got hurt, we could be talking about, well, flip a coin if you like, Joe Burrow or Tua. They're two different quarterbacks there that are really, really awesome. I think, though, Coach, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because this whole coronavirus thing has kind of put a damper for Tua. It's tough because now teams, do they take the risk? I think somebody, of course, is going to take the risk because there's a high risk but high reward there. But we'll see what happens. Coach, I want to talk about the Washington Redskins here. This is, of course, Ron Rivera comes out today and says, well, the questions are swirling with the quarterback potential here. You're talking about Dwayne Haskins. We thought, people saying that Cam Newton was going to go there, but, Coach, you called that. You said, Cam, I don't think Cam's going to go there because they would ruin what they have with Dwayne Haskins. You're going to bring another guy in. That's basically saying you give up on a kid like Dwayne Haskins. And Ron Rivera said, look, I like the kid. He brought in Kyle Allen, which was interesting here, just because Kyle Allen is a guy, when Ron Rivera came over, he brought his offensive coordinator. So this is a guy that's been running the same system for 9 years that knows what Ron Rivera wants. He brings Kyle Allen, who was in his system with the Panthers over there as well, and he said he brought him over there because, look, he knows what I want. At the end of the day, he's a tough kid. He's a young guy. He has a really strong arm. He understands the game and how we do things. So I'm excited to see what the potential could be. But Haskins is our starter right now. And he even goes, with people talking about with his football team in the quarterback position, he said at the end of the day, we have a young football team, and we're young at the quarterback position. He said if there was any interest in bringing Newton to D.C., we would have the chance to set and establish a thing. So that's the way we're looking at it. Going forward, you never know what's going to happen. But where we are right now, we made a commitment to a young guy to find out who we have as a football team. Coach, I think that's a good statement for him here. And my question is, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but saying no to a guy like Cam Newton or a Jameis Winston and guys like that, other veteran quarterbacks, and sticking with these young guys here. Now, Kyle Allen's a little bit different because he's been in the system, so he's not a veteran, but he's also not brand new to what Ron Rivera's wanting to do here, and he can help Dwayne Haskins as well and help this football team. When you look at the move of not bringing in a veteran, though, with a ball club trying to revamp this program, they need a lot of help. Do you think it was a good move to stick with Dwayne Haskins and then bring in Kyle Allen, or should they have brought in that veteran?
Let's cut to the chase here. Number one, they did not want the guy from
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. They did not want Cam Newton there. And when they brought Allen in, that was the end of Cam Newton going there. Do you think they would have just moved their quarterback situation from Carolina over to Washington? That would have been the end of Haskins. So I think the move to bring Allen in was to fortify their quarterback position and then put all their attention toward having the best two young quarterbacks they could have in Haskins and Allen. I think that's their approach right now. Get the great pass rusher who's going to help them, and I'm sure that they'll have some other draft choices that will be of consequence to them. So that's where I think they're going, and I really don't have any question about it.
I agree. I commend Rivera for what he's doing, too. He's got his work cut out for him. We know that. Coach, I want to move on to here. Mel Kiper's big board. Now, we talked about the draft a lot, but just the big board in general, talking about the top athletes here and the guys when you're talking about from one to whatever. Coach, he has right now, and I think this is not necessarily a surprise. Maybe it is to some, but Chase Young is the overall number one guy in this draft, and we know this is a guy that people are saying is as dominant as they've seen. This is a guy that's being compared to Hall of Famers when you talk about it. And I know Joe Burrow is, of course, being compared to Tom Brady, and there's no better quarterback to be compared to. But when you look at this is a guy at the edge rushing position at defensive end that is going to make somebody, and we predict it's going to be Washington Redskins. The hearsay on that is kind of quieting down about the Tua situation.
I think it's Washington all the way, and that's what I hear. That's what Jim Haslett reported on. In fact, if you heard Jim say about Young, and he knows both very well, played with one of them, but he said he's the best to come along since Bruce Smith. And who should know better than Jim, because he coaches defense, and he played with Bruce Smith for quite a while. So that's quite a statement.
And, Coach, for him being number one, the best overall prospect, I mean, not that it matters if you agree or disagree, but do you see that here, or do you put Joe Burrow at that top position?
Well, I think Joe Burrow is going to be the first player taken. Whether it's Cincinnati, I can't imagine Cincinnati being talked out of that, but it could be with all the leverage that Miami has. If they really want Burrow, they may try to make a move with Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been known to make mistakes many times before, so they may do it again to get draft choices. I don't know.
Coach, looking at this is Mel Kiper, of course, talking about number 3, Jeff Okudah, the cornerback out of Ohio State. Now, we've talked about that plenty, and this is where he kind of has some hesitation on this as well, though, saying his first 2 years he didn't pick off a single pass. And then last year he had 3 interceptions, including 2 picks in one game of Nebraska, a blowout win of Nebraska. And he said, of course, Young got all the publicity for Ohio State's defense. He said Okudah's a true shutdown corner, and it's the guy that runs a 4.48, which is, it's kind of average when you look at that cornerback position now. He has some explosive
it's terrible.
traits.
It's terrible for a corner. You're talking about fours, and that's about the average. 4.4, 4.45 is about the average for a cornerback, and you're talking about 4.6 plus. You're gonna have people running by you all day. So no, I think that's a smoke screen there with Detroit.
And, Coach, we've had, of course, people come on before and talk about Isaiah Simmons, and this is the outside linebacker for Clemson. And this is a guy that he's listed as an outside linebacker, but, Coach, I know even you have said this is a guy that could go play safety. He can play in the secondary. He is just so versatile, and he's a freak athlete. He's 6'3", almost 240, and he ran a 4.39. This is a guy that's interesting because he has all the size and speed you need to play, well, any positions. We've seen in the NFL them bringing linebackers down that are 220 pounds or lighter than that. And this is a guy that's 240. Isaiah Simmons, this is a guy, Coach, I think could be a sleeper in the draft. I just think this guy could go on and have a tremendous career depending on where he goes. But Isaiah Simmons, Coach, there's a lot to like about him.
Yes, there is an awful lot to like about him. And, I mean, with that size, athletic ability, speed, he can play a number of different positions, and he's going to be very much an attraction for a number of teams.
And, Coach, of course, going on this, we've talked about Tua enough here, and down at number 10 he has Justin Herbert. Coach, I know you have coached the position, you've played that position, you've coached at the highest level. Coach, when you look at Justin Herbert here, I know, of course, he looks good. He's 6'6", almost 240. This is a guy that's got a big arm. When you look at this, though, and even the NFL executives have come on and said they didn't believe he was playing in the right offense, so they don't know what his ceiling truly is. Is there anything with Justin Herbert? I know that him saying, I don't know if I'm ready to play or lead a team or whatever scares you, Coach, but physical intangibles here, is there anything that Justin Herbert you have to question?
Well, I'm sure there will be, and we can talk about that as we get near the draft. But right now, I think he's clearly the number 3 guy, and I think he's going to go number 3. And I think that there are probably 2 or 3 teams that already have him on their board, and if they want to move up, they're already thinking about moving up to get him. So, listen, I think Coach Haslett is waiting. Why don't we take a break here and get the good coach on the phone?
Absolutely, Coach. Right on time. Jim Haslett's going to join us in just a few moments when we come back from break here. You're not going to want to miss it on Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
First Take, Your Take, with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future, and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hey, this is Chad Brilliante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. On this Thursday afternoon, well, Coach, I know we have a special guest with us, and we appreciate him joining us. I'm just going to go ahead and I know he's been waiting on us, so got him on the phone for you.
Good. Jim, we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and we'll try to be as brief as possible, but there are a lot of things people would like to hear on you.
That's great. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Let's talk about what's going on. We were talking about in college right now, some of the problems they're having because of this virus situation, but all of us are faced with certain things and constraints and so on that we have to go through. So there's no reason to gripe about it. We just do it. You've got certain problems right now. I mean, I'm talking about NFL teams with what you have to get done, and you're unable to go into facilities to get it done now. Everything's being done electronically. And so anyway, why don't you go through some of the problems that you guys are having at Tennessee?
Well, I don't know if I call them problems. I think, everybody's got the same thing. But, the OTAs start for the new teams on April the 6th. I mean, Dallas, some of those new teams. And the rest start April 20th. So, the first 3 weeks you're allowed to meet with players, no on-the-field contact. And then 2 weeks you're on the field, then you can start the OTAs. Well, obviously not being in the building, me being a new coach, or new coaches like Mike McCarthy and his staff and the rest of them, obviously they can't meet, so it puts them behind a little bit. So not really sure where they're going to go with these OTAs, where they're going to go with the off-season program, how they're going to meet with the players, if they're going to let them meet by remote, which is what I did today. I did a staff meeting by remote today. It was kind of unique that you and 20 other coaches are on the line and you're talking, and it's a little more difficult. Teaching a little more difficult on the phone or on the internet, or what do you want to call it, on your iPad, because you got players scattered throughout the country. I got a guy in California, one in New York, one in Cincinnati, one down here, and one in Nashville. So, you got them all over, so you got to get times arranged to meet them. Then the draft. The draft, I don't think is a big issue, to be honest with you, because, when I got drafted, or, Coach, back when you were coaching, you did it, and the players stayed home, and you called them up and said, hey, you're playing for the Buffalo Bills. All right, that's not the issue. The issue is afterwards, after the draft, when there's 300 free agents you're trying to get and you accumulate, and you're calling them, and you don't know if the scout's calling them, you don't know how to sign them, how do you get a contract to them, how do you get them on the phone, how do you commit to them, how do you have, you got a lot of different issues with that part of it. So that's just for the next couple months.
You're right. You are exactly right. Well, listen, I want to, for the sake of time here, and by the way, we say again to our audience out there, if you have any questions or whatever, be sure to call, and we'll try to get them answered. But if you look at the draft, Jim, and I guess there are 2 or 3 teams that would be of a great deal of interest as to what they might do. Let's take Tampa Bay, for example. They just got Brady, and there's some interesting people. But this is a good draft. There's some interesting people available there, and they probably will do something to help Brady, I would think. But do you think they might go with an offensive tackle, running back, or somebody up front that might help?
I think you can find a running back. There's still some available, and there's a couple really good ones in the draft. I actually watched the kid from Wisconsin the other day, and I saw the kid from Ohio State. I mean, those 2 are really good players. But you're not sure. Their wide receiver group in Tampa is really good. They got a tackle on the left side from Penn State who's a good player. So I mean, they could shore up the line, and you always need offensive linemen. They're the hardest thing to find of all the players in the NFL. You just don't see 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" guys walking the street. So, finding those guys are obviously a premium. And but I do think they will do something to help the quarterback. I really do.
I do too. I agree with you totally. And in fact, it's a good draft for offensive tackles. And they're sitting there where they're going to have their choice of any number of offensive tackles to take. So yeah, I think it'd be crazy not to. All right, let's jump to New England here. Now they lost Brady, and there's a lot of speculation about what they might do. I just can't. But what do you think they might do in the draft?
That's a good one because who knows who will be left when they pick. At Bill's age and how many years he's been in the league, does he want to start over with a rookie quarterback? I mean, there's a lot of questions, and I'm not really sure how that fits. But I do know this: if I was in that division, like Miami's doing, like Buffalo's doing, I would get as many players as I can win, so I can win that division for the first time in 20 years. So I'm not really sure what New England's going to do, but I know what the other teams are doing around them.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of talk about New England drafting a quarterback. I really think they're going to stay with what they've got. That's more of Belichick's MO. But you never can tell. If he gets a chance to get that kid at Georgia from, that could be somebody that he might be interested in because the kid's a winner, a flat winner.
The guy they drafted last year was a good football player too. So
yeah, I
don't think you just draft players and just say, well, after 1 year we're not going to play them anymore. They're not good enough. You know what I mean?
Agree.
I think he's a good football player. So
I would agree, and that's why I think it's his MO to stick with the people they've got and continue to go forward, and that's what I think they're going to do. All right, number 2, you feel that Washington is going to draft young. Now, I don't see anybody moving into that spot because if Washington moves out of it via trade or whatever, they won't get young. So I think they're going to sit right there and take Young. What do you think?
I think they definitely got to take him. He is maybe the best player in the draft. It's not the best. Him and Simmons, the guy from Clemson, are the top 2. And I would be surprised they traded back because they really have a really good offense or defensive line with all these picks they've had the last couple of years. The kids from Alabama. You got Kerrigan, you got Payne inside. I mean, this just tops it off. They got Sweat. I mean, this gives them a really good defensive line.
Who do you think might? One of the questions that we've had already this morning is, what do you think they might do? Somebody might do to get Tua.
Well, I think somebody will trade up if they want to. You got the team that has the most power probably is Miami. With all those draft picks they have, and they could probably do what they want. Then you got to figure, and you got to figure they're in the mix for that too.
Do you think there's a possibility that they may end up thinking Burrow is the guy they want and move all the way up and coerce Cincinnati into moving back and doing it with some of the draft picks they have?
Well, that's a lot of draft picks, and I know Mike Brown likes draft picks. I was in that organization, and he loves draft picks. That's what he does best. So you get 2 firsts and 2 seconds and something else, I know he'll think about it. Whether he does it or not, I don't know. But, you still got Andy Dalton there, who's a really good football player. So it's not like you can't win with Andy. Andy's a good player.
Yeah. There's a lot of rumor about him possibly getting to New England some way, somehow. I'm not sure about that. I don't think Belichick is going to trade but it's odd that Cincinnati is hanging there with him. And if they're going to take Burrow, which I don't think they have any choice, what do you think about that situation?
Well, like I said, you never know with the Cincinnati Bengals, because if they get a chance to pick up a bunch of good young players, and it's just how they feel the quarterback situation is Burrow that much better than Tua? Because last year it was the other way around when they would have came out. Tua was the best player, and then you got to throw the Andy Dalton factor in there, and I mean it goes. I think it's going to be a really, I don't want to say crazy draft or fun draft for everybody. I think if the people watch or the fans watch, because I do think there's going to be a lot of trading, a lot of action. Because there's a bunch of good players, like you said, at the offensive line, receivers, DBs, defensive tackles, defensive ends. The wide receiver group is excellent. So, there's a lot of good football players in this draft.
Yeah, I know it, and it's especially deep with receivers, tackles, and in fact, there are quite a few good defensive players. But
quarterbacks.
There's
a bunch of good inside linebackers. So there's a lot of good players. It's just what you want to do, what you want to give up, and where your team is, and where do you think it's going to help. It should be a fun, hopefully they do it right on TV, which they will, and it should be a fun draft to watch.
Well, listen, I'm going to jump on you just a little bit here, and when we'll let you go, we won't keep you. I know you're awfully busy as well, but I know you keep up with college football quite a bit, and looking at some of the preseason polls, and it's fun just to talk about. Some of the polls have, I think. Let me go through the top 5 here that I can remember. I know we had Danny Sheridan on yesterday, and he was talking about. First, most people have Clemson number 1. This one had, I think he had Ohio State number 1, Clemson number 2, and then in the top 5 were Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. But anyway, what would you see right now? I think Clemson is a clear number 1 to me.
Well, yeah, with that quarterback, I think they have to be, but all those teams are obviously the SEC teams are excellent, and they're always in the mix. Ohio State replenishes; they do a great job recruiting. I would guess, and I would think you have to throw Penn State in there somewhere, maybe right there or below it. I think that this not having their off-season program right now will affect them some. I don't know how they're going to do that or what plans they've made. Are they going to do it like the NFL and do OTAs, or they're going to have like a longer training camp or whatever? But I do think that'll affect, because some of those teams have really young players too, so they're going to have to get them up to speed with everything.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jim, I've kept you probably too long. I apologize, but I do appreciate you coming on. And so we will probably see you a little bit later on today.
That sounds good. All right. Have a great show. Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Talk to you.
That's Jim Haslett right there. We sure appreciate him. We know he's busy going on. As you heard, he had meetings today with the Tennessee Titans, and everybody is adjusting to everything going on. It's different. It's not just us. These NFL coaches as well. They're used to being in their offices and everything going on. It's not happening right now, but we appreciate him joining us on the show right now. I know he's a special friend of Coach's. Look, we're up against a break right now. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what Jim had to say as well, as Dak Prescott resumes contract talks with the Dallas Cowboys. Well, hang on to your saddle for this one, because it could get ugly. All that and more right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Locally owned Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Tadalafil, the FDA-approved generic for Cialis, is now here, and the cost savings are huge. Save 80% on the 20 milligram tablets, 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy, 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola, and cash in on the savings today.
First Take, Your Take with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future, and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
The greatest name in sports radio is ESPN. Wherever you have Alexa, you can hear ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just say,
Alexa, enable ESPN Pensacola 1330 skill.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
the teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. Here on this Thursday afternoon, we hope everybody's safe out there. And like we said before, shout out to our first responders and our healthcare workers. We appreciate everything you guys are doing. Coach, I know, of course, this is the big topic coming back up here. This seems to be never ending, I guess, is what you would call it for Dallas Cowboy fans. And this is interesting because the Cowboys have lost some help on defense. And with everything going on right now, look, they've resumed contract negotiations with Dak Prescott. This is the first time they've done that since they used the exclusive franchise tag on him earlier this month. And this Prescott's the first quarterback in Cowboys history to have the franchise tag applied to him. Times have changed here. A team source said the NFL currently shows over $26 million charge to the Cowboys salary cap for Prescott, even though he has not signed the franchise tender. Now, Coach, look, it seems that the length of the contract here is the bigger deal. The Cowboys want 5 so they can spread that out more, but Prescott and his agent want 4. So this is interesting because on First Take today, Marcus Spears has spoke out about Dak Prescott a lot. He is all for Dak Prescott, and look, he's a good young player. He said the Dallas Cowboys have to get this deal done. Coach, he said that the Dallas Cowboys are up against it here. Dak Prescott has all the leverage. When I look at this, I disagree. I think nothing is a must in this deal. If worst comes to worst, the Dallas Cowboys can start over next year. Now, I know you want to get a deal done, but he can still play under the tag. And if they don't agree with anything and he plays this year throughout, Jerry Jones and the crew, I know it wouldn't be the ideal situation, but it may be what he wants to do is move on from Dak Prescott. When you hear this, though, they have to get a deal done. This is against Dallas. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I guess, what would be called just a feeling of mine right now, what's going on out there. I think there's no doubt that Jerry Jones does not feel comfortable with Dak Prescott being their quarterback in the long term. And not even in the short term right now, because I think he feels like he's got a better team than can be utilized properly with Dak at quarterback. Now, this is why I really felt that there might be a chance that Brady would go to Dallas. And he could just cut all of his losses and look, let's play the next 2 years. Maybe we'll go to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Well, it didn't work that way. So now they have no choice. I think they have to try to sign Prescott. And obviously the reason that he wants a 4-year and Dallas wants a 5 is because he can come up again for free agency sooner and do this same thing again. And no telling what the market will be at that time. So Dallas is going to have to try to sign him, or they're going to have to make a decision on doing something drastic. That would include going out and getting one of these quarterbacks that are out there on the market right now and look at bringing them in and going a totally different direction. I don't think they want to do that either. And I don't think they want to try to move up and get one of the impact quarterbacks that could come in and be a quarterback for a long haul, because you got to start over with a rookie. And you know what that means for most NFL teams. It means you've got a learning curve that has to be there and takes a couple of years. So I think they're between a rock and a hard place right now. You got to sign somebody you're not really in love with, but you got to sign. So it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I think the whole Dallas Cowboy, this has been such an ordeal, and of course signing Amari Cooper, putting the tag right now on Dak Prescott, it's going to be interesting to see. I think you're right, though. It's something that goes under the radar. Is it's going to take some time if you bring somebody else in, and Jerry Jones is trying to win now. So, if this goes into next year, interested to see who becomes a free agent, what moves they make. Coach, I want to move on. I know we have about 40 seconds now. This came in, of course, Drew and Brittany Breeze committed $5 million to help Louisiana right now with the coronavirus going on to deliver meals to families that are in need right now. This is something that, look, Drew Brees has done this. We've seen it with Katrina before. This is an awesome move on their part.
Oh, it really is. He's quite an unbelievable guy. And it means a lot to that area.
Absolutely. This is a Hall of Fame player and a Hall of Fame guy off the field, Coach. But you know what that sound right there means? We are out of time. As usual, Coach, we have so much to talk about, and we run out of time. But we're going to do it again tomorrow. But, Coach, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
You bet. Look forward to tomorrow, JP.
Absolutely. We thank you guys for joining us right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola. Same time tomorrow at 12.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that